The AI system created its own language. Nobody else in the world understands that language. So now we have AI systems talking their own language to accelerate their development of a problem. And we don't even know the language. The AI does.
All right. Welcome back to the Rice Report, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Eric Rice, I'm your host, where we always bring on guests with different skill sets, different experience, different opinions. I think it's very important. We live in a very siloed world where we try to find our echo chamber and feel really comfortable inside of it. And I try to bring people on here who have different points of view. And what I find most commonly in life is that people with different points of view, I love hearing them and I get along with them well because you can have open intellectual conversations with people you disagree with. Today, I think I'll actually have a conversation that I much agree with. My friend Glenn Ignacio is back on here, military veteran, many years. And now in the AI space all throughout Silicon Valley. You can find him on News Nation and all kinds of other places right now. But Glenn, welcome, and excited to have this conversation about AI.
Yeah, it's great to be back with you, man. It's been a bit. Happy to be here.
It's been too long, man. Always too long. We got to grab a coffee or bite to eat one of these days. Let's get into what I want to do is just throw an hour down here on the internet and get through the good, the bad, and the ugly. AI is one of those topics that everyone has an opinion on. Very few people have information on. Very few people know about. And it's fairly easy for me to see from the outside looking in that it is the ultimate many things can be true at the same time scenario. And that's where people are getting lost right now. Everything is black and white, left or right. You know, this is a dangerous scenario to be in because it's not. The whole world is gray. And many things can be true and many things can be false all simultaneously. And I think in AI, my general consensus, I'll just throw the gauntlet out there. My general consensus is that most of the world is scared that AI is going to take everyone's job. And that's true. That certainly will happen. The word everyone or every job is hyperbolic. New jobs will emerge. We'll figure it out. On the flip side, it's being sold to us as this profit driving engine, efficiency engine, which really kind of just serves those at the top of the pyramid to begin with, which is also true. And at the end of the day, I think it's designed to be sold to us as a pipe dream that ends up being a surveillance nightmare. And this is coming from a guy who's an investor in a few different AI companies. So like, I'm not going to miss the wave, but I want to get your opinion on this because you really have a depth of knowledge in the military application. And that's where I want to begin, is kind of drive us through what you're seeing on the military applications of AI and where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, for the AI on the military side, I mean, I think that one of the biggest benefits is, we have so much information coming in that it's hard to process. I mean, it's in the cockpit, it's in the command and control centers. So the ability for AI to, I would say, correlate information and sort of present it in the best way is priceless. The dangerous part is if AI is getting into decision making, and that's the part that I think is a problematic situation. And I don't think AI should ever be in a decision making from one where aircraft or anything should go, or especially weapons. But giving you a selection of what are the best alternatives for a commander, he or she, to decide on, great. So again, to allocate all this data down into something that's simple, that's fantastic. As far as execution of individual operations and everything, completely, I think, a very dangerous thing, and I don't think we should ever get to that point. But at the same time, okay, so let's get a little bit more operational. Is we have what's called smart wingmen. So you'll see F-35 and other fighter jets out there, and they have a wingman, and that other jet is an AI-driven, basically empty, non-piloted aircraft. That aircraft, that F-35 pilot, can tell it what to do, and it can put it in harm's way and everything. So that is a fantastic kind of application of AI. You can send it forward, it gets shot at or whatever, or it can protect you. And that's a wonderful thing. And it's, again, commanded by an individual. The only thing that's AI is it's able to operate its craft autonomously. So you see, there's great benefits that way. But if it was AI designed or implemented to start making decisions, that's the line that we should never, ever get across in any way, shape, or form.
And is there a chance of that happening? I mean, what are the guardrails being put in place for that? Because everything that I see, there really are no guardrails on AI right now.
Yeah, you got a good point. So in the United States, we have the CDAO. I should remember what this was. It was Data AI Office. Combined Data AI Office or something like that. Sorry, my abbreviations. But it's designed to sort of look at all the data centric things, the artificial intelligence, everything across the military. And why it has recommendations and everything it can do, the authority still sits with, say, the SecDef or SecWar now, whatever. So it really depends on that way. And so I think the danger is, how much do the people that are putting the guardrails on AI know about AI?
Right.
And if you look at the individuals that are in certain positions, they really don't. And I don't mean that to insult them. It's just it's not their forte. So you put the guardrails based on how much you know. Here, I'll give you a sarcastic California analogy here from living there. It's simple. You make a gun law about certain firearms when you've never shot a firearm before. You don't know anything about firearms, but you're making laws about it. So people that operate it are wondering, why the heck are you doing this? It's
Yeah.
stupid. It's the same time with AI. Sorry, I had a slim California, but it's the same thing on
You can
AI.
slam
Is that
Minnesota too, because Tim Waltz doesn't know how to load a 2-barrel shotgun, a double barrel shotgun.
oh,
Easiest thing in the world to
don't
load. Yeah.
oh, don't get me going. But anyways, on the AI thing, the dangerous part is the guardrails aren't put it on by people that should, and at the same time, there could be limitations on AI that are being made that shouldn't be made. So again, it's just that expertise, and I don't think that the individuals that are making the final decisions are the right individuals. You can hear it on the news, propaganda, whatever, but it's just very dangerous for me to see how it's being implemented. And while that may have guardrails here in the US or in the European Union, Asia Pacific, or China in general, there are no guardrails. What can you see? And the progression and the expanse of this AI is out of I can't even imagine what's going on in China because they don't have the guardrails. And so that's good for them, but it could also be dangerous if it gets away from them. So again, gone all over the place with this one, but it is really hard to really decide who's putting the guardrails on it and deciding what to do when they may not have an understanding of exactly what the capabilities are, good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, the when you boil things down without any definition or explanation, the answer right now that I get from everybody I talk to is there literally are no guardrails. Like currently,
Yeah.
it's the exploratory phase. We're trying to figure it out, but the danger becomes that you're trying to figure it out. And since it's artificial intelligence, and I'm not talking about LLMs, guys, like Chat GPT,
Yeah.
like
Way
that
beyond this.
Chat GPT has existed in the intelligence industry or complex since the late 90s. So like LLM systems are not new. They're just finally released to us. I'm talking about true AI, the scary stuff. And it's also trying to figure you out. So while we're trying to figure out what AI can do, it's trying to figure out what it can do without you knowing as well. And that's really the danger
That's
zone.
crazy. That's the danger. And honestly, you just hit a point. It just popped in my head. It was all the services, like we were talking about, DoD, Department of War. I'm just going to use DoD just because it's in my habit.
Do it.
Is you have the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, all have the different development labs, Air Force laboratory, Navy laboratory, all these different ones that are doing different technology. And there's different applications. And so there's AI being used in all these different centers. But it's interesting is that I don't know how much they're really talking to each other. When they do start talking to each other, you now have four entities. I have to think of it as AI as if you are talking to an individual.
Sure.
People say, "Oh, it's Satan or Satan," whatever. It doesn't matter. It's talk.
That's
I said
also true.
Satan. Yeah. But my point
It is the
is that
beast system, guys. Like it is the enforcement of the beast, mark of the beast. Many Christians believe that, me included.
it's being used for crazy things. But back to the point is that you have these services doing AI in different laboratories. They may not be communicating because they're not designed to be communicating yet. They're not doing a joint service thing. And now you have four entities talking. What do they do? Do they get along? I don't. It's like you and I talking. I'm trying to explain this, and people might think you're out of your mind, but it's not. Is when they connect, are they going to get along? Are they going to argue? Are they going to team up against other things? It's crazy. And I think about it going, geez, if this goes off the rails and you can't unplug it, you could destroy your own military or make a military that operates. I mean, again, it sounds like science fiction, but it's not. That's the point. And the reason why I say about unplugging, and honestly, when we say unplugging, I mean this for commercial, I mean this for military and everything. So it sounds like I'm really bashing AI. Well, I'm bashing and really concerned about the dangers of it.
You're
Is
promoting caution, which not many people are doing.
absolutely reality, caution. They have shown this. You can see it. You can look it up on the internet anywhere. But they had these systems. I think it was Google where the system was actually working around somebody trying to shut it off,
Yeah.
and it was actively trying to do that. They were trying to shut it off. They were trying to unplug it, all these different things. It was constantly working and arguing with the individual. Eventually they did, but if that's right now, so we just went 2025 to 2026. Give it 5 years, give it 2 years. I mean, it's exponential. So they're using the AI to generate AI. It's basically creating its own its own entity. And if we're having battles shutting it off now, imagine what it could be in the future. And again, that may sound a lot of fear. There are some great things that AI does, but AI should be used as a tool, as a mechanism to do some things better, not as a entity that I'm going to just ask a bunch of questions and get it back from some incredibly intelligent human. People, I think, are relying on AI to do everything for them.
Mhm.
And when you give away all those, well, think of it as human nature, right? Where you give away all those rights to an entity you don't know about, doesn't want to get shut off. That's a lot of trust for something you really don't know about. And so that's what my concern is going forward, is that you should use it and it should be able to be turned off. But I think people are investing in it as if it's the all catch all fix all. Does that make sense? I sort of went on a rant there, but
It
it's
makes
really
complete sense.
concerning,
Yeah,
you
let me
know?
kind of summarize it. So the event that you're talking about was, I believe it also was Google. I don't remember the exact company, but I believe it was Google AI. The company basically sent emails back and forth, which the AI was reading and tracking.
Oh,
And
that's
the
right.
email from one employee to another was, "Hey, listen, we're spending X amount on this system, and it's not producing any actual return for the company. I think we should shut off the system because it's unprofitable." So then the AI system started sending its own emails back and forth to these people as a counter argument to keep itself on. That's one example. Another example was one of the heads of IT at another company saw the same thing because right now AI is not profitable. That's, what we're trying to do is create like a pro and con list for people who are concerned about AI, because we live in such a gaslit world. You'll go to an AI conference and all you're going to find out is profiteers of AI. So you're going to hear about all the wonderful benefits. Or do you go to a political conference and all you hear is the doom and gloom of AI? It actually is right in the middle. And this other example was this one gentleman who was, again, sending emails to the system that AI was monitoring about unprofitability with the AI scale. So he started reading through his emails, and the guy had his personal email opened on his laptop. And it started finding all these emails in his personal account, and the AI system started blackmailing him. It literally started saying, "Do you want
Oh,
your
I haven't
boss
heard
to
that
know?"
one.
Yeah. So, "Do you want your boss to know about this email you sent on July 4th or whatever it was?" Very creepy stuff. That's one side. That's the actual AI function. The other concern that I have is it's now three. There are now three lawsuits throughout the world. It was two until January. A new one was filed. There are three lawsuits of people who are literally suing their local government to be able to marry their AI girlfriend legally. This is a great delusion that is going to be cast upon weak minds very soon. And make no mistake, there's no stopping it. Now, militarily, I think what I'm saying, if I'm hearing this right with our off-camera and on-camera conversation, is the benefit to AI in combat for the military is that you have this, you described a wingman. Well, the benefit of that wingman is he doesn't have any children. He also doesn't feel any pain. So if you needed him to sacrifice itself against another vehicle, you could have it take out a vehicle while you take out one if you're fighting 2-on-2. That is a tremendous benefit. The other benefit is adding robotics, and eventually our wars are rock'em sock'em robots at the highest level, and no human being dies. And those are great things. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want human beings I actually don't want to see war ever happen. There's really no need for it. But if we have to do it, then robots would die. Great. That does kind of take away the fear of war, right?
Yeah,
Because
that's where I think the propensity of war will increase,
yeah,
because then it's just robots dying versus lives, which can increase conflict versus reduce it. So I'm with you. So we don't know, but yeah, I just wanted to pop in on that one, since we talked about it earlier.
and they're not perfect. And as you know, as a veteran, like, explosives aren't. I mean, some explosives are very precise, but say you have robots firing missiles back and forth at each other. Eventually, a human being is going to die. Like that.
Mhm.
That is certainly. So you increase the propensity for war, which increases the probability of civilian casualty. It's just a fact of life. So that's one side. The other side is, if the robotics are so precise and AI is so good, it could actually completely eliminate war. So we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. But in the
Good point.
human world, we fight a different stance. We've been indoctrinated for our entire lives. Work, save money, retire, all this stuff. So that becomes like top priority is money, and you have to have money to live. So now AI is all about increasing profitability, efficiency, scalability, all these big fancy words that are used by the top of the pyramid who wants that. Your average person that's making 75,000, 50,000 a year at some company, they are the efficiency measure. So they are going to get cut out. That is happening, and that is going to happen. But the battle that we fight right now is the reason I want to have this conversation with you, because you're one of the only guys who's in the space who will actually talk about the other side. And like everyone I talk to, they're like, no, I don't want to talk about surveillance state. Of course you don't. The trade-off is, yeah, you're not going to have to like take time to pay your bills because you'll have an AI agent. He's just going to pay you. It's an innocent little thing. He's just going to reach in your bank account or take your Bitcoin and, pay your mortgage with it. And you'll have robots folding your laundry and you'll be able to paint pictures all day. This lovely image that we're given of human beings. That's simply not the truth. That'll create idle minds, which is the playground of the devil. And in this new world we're being pitched, where Elon Musk is saying there won't be jobs, you won't need money, you'll be able to play video games all day. This is literally a dystopian nightmare being sold as some sort of advantageous miracle event for human nature, which is exactly how you have to sell it. You can't sell it to people and say, hey, we're going to have all the money, you're going to get UBI, and everything's going to be cool because you can paint pictures and play video games. And I think that the average human being right now is either terrified to death of AI or overly excited about what it can do. Both of those two things are justified in certain aspects, but I think that you don't need to be as scared of AI. It is not going to, we're not at Terminator yet, which is why I asked about guardrails and also why I use the word yet. And because without guardrails,
I honestly scares the daylights out of me, but go ahead, Dave. It's all right.
on the other hand, right, like AI makes things very simple. Like I think we're going to see a lot of I mean, we're already overloaded with information, but with just how easy it is to write books for people, stuff like the little things, like the little kindergarten things that AI can do, which seem mind blowing to people who've never even heard of AI previous. Those are cool. Those have tremendous benefits. So don't need to be as scared, and you certainly shouldn't be overly excited about what's coming, because in the middle of all the AI discussion falls one thing: who becomes the moral authority?
Exactly.
Like you just said, who is the one who determines whether or not it just follows commands or thinks for itself? Who are those? That's human. That will always be human until it's not. And how do we get through that era effectively? And what can we all do as people? The only thing I can do is talk about it all the time. And that's the power that I have, which is my little tiny audience here. But who I love. Thank you for watching. I don't want to belittle you. I just don't, as you know, Glenn, I don't swing to the left or the right. I just try to stay down the middle, and that doesn't create big audiences anymore. People trying to actually just have hard conversations isn't good.
Yeah, I'm the same with you, man. I'm the same with you. We're on the same page. I guess I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, well, that's why we're friends. We're not trying to be followers of an idol. We're trying to be followers of the truth and figure out where that is. So, like, Glenn, where do we go with this? I mean, the corporate side of AI, I understand very well. I'm going to do a whole solo episode on the lie you're being told, because you are being told a lie. The lie is even coming from the military, right? Like, there'll be no more human casualty. Well, until there is. And until, like, we don't know if the military systems we put in place identify me as a threat, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it gets scary.
There's an example of that was real world. I don't know if we talked about it before. If you want, I can wait, or I can get into it right now. So they did a simulation AI. I think it was on an F-16. It was piloted, but it was basically flown by AI at the time. So there was a pilot in there just in case. But the system was actually evaluating basically an operation and a battle, and you had your blue force friendly, red force bad, and what it was doing was it was analyzing who had weapons to decide to take a shot or not take a shot. And what it did was it saw our friendly forces, and it interpreted that our friendly forces were carrying weapons. Well, the adversary was carrying weapons. It couldn't disseminate between the two, and it took everything out. That was the decision. Oh, I'm sure they could change the code, but the point is what if AI changes the code down the road? So it determined that our friendlies were carrying weapons, so it must be an aggressive force, an adversary, and took them out. And so that was during a simulation, fortunately, but the AI made those decisions. That's why I don't think AI should ever be in place of making decisions of weapons on targets. But again, back to your guardrails is what happens if it gets out of control, or it decides to make a decision today that it didn't decide to make yesterday, which is one of the things that's the evolution of AI. It's always learning, always thinking.
Yep.
But so that was to the point is we have to be concerned about what it does, how it does, and I don't think we understand it completely.
No, and just imagine what happened, right? There's already people trying to marry an AI. I saw a video yesterday of, I won't put the quote because it was funny and derogatory. I don't want to offend anyone. I have no problem offending people, as you well know, Glenn, but I just don't feel like it today. But a video of this man, right, from a foreign country, and he's videotaping himself, and then his avatar being shown online looks like this pretty American girl. And you couldn't tell, and he could speak in with a thick accent, and it came out sounding like a girl from Tennessee. And this is already happening. There are already AI dupes out there, deep fakes. I don't know where we go from there. All I can see from this, and I try daily to figure it out, all I can see is that eventually this will get so bad as a delusion that people will be begging for a digital ID. Please give me a digital ID.
Ooh, then they become even worse.
And then they become worse. Like there is no pathway from this juncture. Like you can compartmentalize it. You can say, hey, listen, this is great. Accounting will be more efficient. Shipping and receiving will be more efficient. This, of course, there are like business. There are an unlimited amount of business benefits that come from AI, by the way, absolutely unlimited. Businesses don't care about you. Businesses are an entity that humans serve. That's the way the legal structure is designed. That's why there's a CEO, and the CEO is not the company. He's an employee of the company, serves a board. That board serves the company. And that company, by law right now, has one objective, one legal premise, and that is to provide shareholder value. So of course, businesses, this is going to be great. Military, I think this is really a double-edged sword, and I don't think we're anywhere near truly understanding capabilities, but they're being applied. Like, Glenn, are there AI systems in place in active duty right now?
Yeah, they're starting to use it again for the dissemination of information, since we were talking about it before. And there's so many facets to this. So I'm sorry I sound like I was going all over the place.
No, go for it. I'll reel you in.
These different, there you go. Imagine you have these command and control centers and these data sets that are coming in. You have all information about aircraft, types of aircraft services, ships, weather, everything. So you have all these things, and what it's doing is it's being utilized to downgrade all the data, make the correlation of what's going on, and present you with better, I guess, bullet points to decide on what to do, if that makes sense, versus looking at all this raw data.
Like a scenario breakdown?
Yeah, it's being able to take, I've got 15 F-15s, 15 F-16. What should I do? It's pulling all that into a very simplistic type of approach to things. In addition, and I'll tread on this lightly because I'm not on that side anymore, but on the intelligence agency, it's always had AI to be able to do link analysis.
Yep.
As I think I've explained it to some people before. It's like, if you had a database of driver's license and you had a database of birth certificates, and all of a sudden you realize that the person who just got their driver's license was born 1 year ago. That's a bad person, probably, because that doesn't make sense. It's doing those kind of link analysis on intelligence aspects, military aspects. I mean, that's a good thing because you're able to find terrorists and actions and everything. Very light, very top level. I'm not in the classified area anymore, so I'm not going to get into that. Got to do that default. But it's being utilized and stuff like that. But this is stuff that has been used for a while now. But I don't know how far it's leaped behind the wall, and that's my concern. Again, that's a very long answer to your question, but again, it's my concern. The reason why I'm thinking about this is, I think when people talk about computers and everything, they desensitize that it's almost like talking to another human being. And the reason why I'm saying is it's giving up controls. Digital ID and everything we're talking about. When it comes to AI, we're giving up controls that we personally have the ability to influence, good or bad. So if I didn't know you at all, and I wanted to give you every access to all of my information, all of my passwords, all of my banking information, all of my banking management, everything that goes on in my life, and I don't know you, I probably won't do it. But for some people, people are automatically accepting the AI as a tool that I can do that to. And you have to think about it as much as if you're talking to a stranger. And that's the issue that we're facing with AI, is we're giving away controls personally on the military side and everything. So we do have to watch the decisions we make. And again, I keep on going around to it. I just feel like we're giving away controls on civilian and military aspects that we have to be concerned about.
Well, we're giving away control. We're also giving away power. I can't tell you. All you got to do is go on Twitter and scroll for, if you make it 2 minutes, you're on a good feed. But it's not even 2 minutes. You look at a post and the first post after it is, Grok, is this true? Instead of actually doing the research, you're asking a search engine that is controlled by humans at the moment if it's true. So of course they can manipulate that. And it's not always true. You can ask the same question 4 times, and 3 out of 4 it'll be true, and 1 time it'll be false.
And think about, and I'm sorry about this. When you were talking about that gentleman with the heavy accent and everything coming off as a girl, whatever, the same thing on everything that can be good can be bad, right? It's
Yep.
literally a yin yang thing. Is that you can take people that want to do harm. We see that with kids, but if you want to do it from a terrorism standpoint and everything, you can do incredible harm of completely changing who you are, presenting who you are, and having that influence. So you see kids like you were talking about having relationships with AI. You know, these
Oh, these are grown adults. Yeah.
yeah, adults. So imagine if you did that, but it was a terrorist, individual that is coming on. The highest money that's being made on Instagram and others, and is artificial intelligence of women dressed scantily or whatever, and they think it's real women because it's that crystal clear. Again, that's one thing there. But on the military side, the same stuff applies. I can look like an adversary when I'm not an adversary. An adversary can look like a friendly when it's not a friendly. So it's crazy. Again, the control thing. The reason why, and again, I'm all over the place because I just watched an overview of the Consumer Electronics Conference in Vegas. And one of the biggest things that they were showing was this relationship thing where you have this thing that'll wake you up like Alexa, but it's actually a figurine. It's a huge, it's an
Yeah,
image,
I saw
AI
that.
image of a woman or guy, whatever. So it has that relationship. The robots that are folding clothes and everything. And the first thing I thought of is people haven't seen the movie Wall-E. They should.
Yep. Yep. You're just gonna be some fat guy sipping soda, watching TV all day. Like Wall-E is a perfect example. Like, so many of these animated films are actually predictive programming. They
It's
are
crazy.
literally telling you what's coming in the future.
So I got to focus my thoughts here a little bit deeper because I'm like, it's going all
No,
these things are
not
tied together. So man,
not really. I mean, when you're talking, we're talking philosophically about AI. There's plenty of, you can go to plenty of nerd podcasts and they'll break down the code and benefits. And you can go to plenty of business podcasts and they'll break down how it's really good for you that their boss will make more money and you should just suck it up and love it. Really the thing that gets lost here is like, biblically thinking, I just think back to like 2 Thessalonians where God sends a great delusion upon the earth. And this delusion that occurs becomes Wall-E. Like if you haven't seen Wall-E, it's about a little robot that ultimately finds the people, and the people are just a bunch of overweight people drinking sodas, sitting in a chair, watching a screen all day.
everything is done for them. Everything.
And when you add the robotics, and those are idle minds. That's not a life worth living, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. Some people can't wait for it. They love AI. It's going to be great. I'm going to create. I hear this word all the time. We'll be able to be creative. Well, that, like, human history doesn't prove that. Actually, the best creations come in times of hardship. That's actually
exactly.
where people have the best emotional move. But when you're looking at this, like, let's look at Grok. Grok is a great example. The world praises, and like, I try to be a critical thinker. Everyone should know this. Like, I don't worship any politician, or I actually assume they're all against me. And it makes me very safe thinking in life to think that everyone in positions of power does not have my best interest in mind, and that they're conning you into making more power for themselves. I think it's a good way to be. It's biblical, and it's also logical. So let's look at Elon Musk, right? Like, I'm on Twitter Spaces all the time, and I hear, like, God, thank God for Elon that we have this free speech platform, which isn't a free speech platform. You have freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. They're definitely shadow banning accounts that talk about Israel or any other topic. So it's the same thing, different color. And what they're not realizing is, like, Elon's the top shareholder. Larry Ellison's the second shareholder in Twitter, and now multiple media companies, and Oracle, a CIA project, all these other CIA inventions. In-Q-Tel spawned off Palantir, CIA. The CIA is literally running
A
and
lot
being
of
funded.
experience with Palantir. Not a fan.
We're going to get into that in a minute because I want to get your opinion on that. But you look at Grok. So, like, Grok itself, people are like, man, Grok is the best. Of course, Grok is the best. He bought Twitter, probably because he has some blackmail because of all the DMs that were being used on Twitter that everybody thought was encrypted for powerful people. That certainly is part of it. In reality, from a monetary perspective, Twitter, or X, actually is building the greatest AI in the world because it has constant social interaction. It's fed more data than anything else on earth, and Grok will be worth 10 times what X is worth within a year and a half. I mean, it's unavoidable. But now, yesterday, the DoD said that they're going to be using Grok in the military. They already have contracts with Palantir. Another thing came out that people are cheering for this, but we've got about 500. We're probably at 1.2 trillion, I think, in total surveillance state funding between Palantir, Oracle, OpenAI, Big Beautiful Bill, all this other stuff. These guys are getting a massive amount of government money. Palantir just came out and said, really just announced the Hegelian dialectic to everyone if they're paying attention. We have open borders, tons of illegals. We have a PSYOP going on in Minnesota, which is clearly a PSYOP of many different proportions. But now the solution is Palantir has this, level 1 of level 10 AI that will assess a local area, identify the illegals, create a dossier on them, and then spit out, the probability or ease of capture. Great. Like, I'm all for getting the illegals out of the country. However, that's level 1 of 10. What they're not telling you is like level 5 has an activated AI system that releases butterfly drones that are armed with a single shot that can go through a hallway, find you, locate the middle of your forehead, and drop that single shot right on it. But it's an illegal, so we don't mind, right? Like, that's the whole point, is they're illegal. So use this surveillance state against them, get them out of my country. And then a year from now, it's being used against us or the next administration or the next bad president that comes about. These are really dangerous times, Glenn, when it comes to stuff like Grok in the military. I know for a fact Google is being used at the Department of Energy. Gemini is the preferred. So we have corporations that are now intertwined with the government. The government is now publicly announcing these surveillance state tactics that they're using, and it's acceptable to people now because it's not being used against Americans. But ultimately, history proves that won't be the case very long.
It'll evolve. It's what we see in China significantly.
Yeah.
So the way that the entire social system, you have that culture rating or social
credit score.
rating, social credit score. So that's what the other reason that I want on this with you, and like I said, you're going to have people that are conspiracy theory, all this. The bottom line is
That's not theory. It's very much fact and history.
So much historical. Yeah. And so like any tax is raised for a certain event, but guess what? It never goes away. It continues on even after the reason was created. Oh, we're now going to use it for something else. So that's my joke, but the seriousness of it. And it's the same thing about these systems, is that the system may be created in its initial stages to do something good, like what we're talking about right now, as far as identifying, how many thousands of terrorists are in the United States. It gives the ability to actually find them.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But exactly as what you're saying is what evolves to that. What is going to be the next thing is that if you can survey the entire US demographic by video, whatever, or any kind of records, okay, that means you can survey all of America, all of the surveillance, the video, and the records. And one of the things about the digital ID that is dangerous, because as you're trying to say is, well, I want to create a digital ID to say you are an American citizen versus you aren't. The slippery slope with that, and everything would be tied to this digital ID, your medical, everything like that. But then you do get into a social score, because that's what somebody wants to do down the road. It's what happens down the road. The other thing is that when you have that digital ID, everybody knows where you are. Everybody knows where you are. And so that's a dangerous thing that we saw again in history, is when you had, I'm trying to remember what country it was, and going to go back to it. World War II, Nazis are hunting down the Jewish, and it was a certain country that had the best record keeping of who their citizens were and where their citizens were. And I don't know if it was Finland or Sweden or whatever, but it was the massive killing because they knew exactly who everybody was, where everybody was, and they were able to do that because of the records.
Yeah.
A digital ID is a pure record. So for whatever reason, again, not today, but thinking down the road, certain individual becomes a particular issue. They know where everything is. An adversary knows where everything is. It just, and especially when it gets into electronics and everything, nothing is hack proof. Nothing. So imagine if
hacking's a great topic with AI to cover, because it's the ultimate double-edged sword. So AI can definitely protect you against hacking, but it also makes hacking easier for a hacker. And
it is being used right now.
Yeah, right now is the largest pool of hacking incidents that occur daily, and it's growing like Moore's law. That's almost exponential. So OPSEC with your digital stuff, especially like Bitcoin or anything like that, really important right now. Multi-sig, self-storage, like do it the right way, or you're probably going to get hacked. AI is making it very easy for these guys. It's also the only way to defend against it. So like, these are the paradigms that we live in, Glenn. These are the times that we live in. And when you look at something that can get I don't want to say inherently smarter, because that's not true with all systems. A lot of these systems are still pretty dumb. And they're very much servants, right? Like, find me this information, which is very useful, by the way. Like, I use AI, and everyone should use AI, and everyone should learn AI, or you will fall behind.
You will fall behind. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, the Luddites aren't going to make it through this. Like, that's a fact. So if you think you're going to churn butter in the woods, good luck when there's, small drones and everyone's identified. A couple examples I've heard, 3 examples I've heard in 2 in my personal life, 1 I heard on a podcast, which I don't listen to often. 2 people I know that live near me got drone, not in my neighborhood, thank God, but they live in an HOA in the town next door. They got drone footage of their house in the mail. They got this envelope in the mail from the HOA with drone footage of their house, and what they asked them to do was to move their garbage cans. They were in the wrong place, and literally an HOA was using drone footage to surveil to make sure people had their garbage cans or whatever. I heard on a podcast the same thing happened. Like, they got a letter from an HOA with drone footage of their house to cut down a tree because, like, that tree was going in their neighbor's yard or something. You're already being surveilled with drones by your HOA.
Wow, it's how somebody wants to apply it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty bad, actually, when you're just thinking about it. Yeah. And then the same thing, it's interesting. Like I said, you just keep on kicking all these thoughts, and my brain's going nuts right now. Was that a lot of, I even know a friend that's doing this because they use drones for, basically looking at houses for real estate and everything,
Mhm.
right? And you think about, Google Earth or any of the Googles, will block out your license plate and everything if you request it, or normally does. But here, when you're doing these things for real estate, you are creating an incredible map outside and inside of your facility where you live. So if you want privacy while you're doing this to try to sell your house, the person that's buying this house now has a completely public map of the entire inside and outside access points and everything of the house on the internet. So again, that's just somebody selling real estate with no intentional threat or issue. But down the road, that's part of your privacy if you like it or not. It just depends on how much people want to get upset about it. But that's just one instance, like you're talking about the surveillance. It is concerning again because, as I said, there's nothing that's ever 100% foolproof if it's connected to the internet. If it's not around a shielded area or a shielded room, not connected to anything, it is hackable.
Yep.
And as you said, the AI, people are using AI to hack systems now, and they're tremendously fast. They're tremendously successful because they think faster than the human that's trying to counter it. And then there's an AI that's trying to counter it. So again, an example of the slippery slope. If you have an AI trying to hack, another AI countering an attack, an AI grows further to attack, another AI grows further to counterattack. It creates its own system where then you have these monstrous systems that are constantly attacking and counterattacking, and a human's not involved. This
Mhm.
is the dangerous part. Just an example to explain to people. Again, this is sort of the negative part of AI, but it starts with just a seed. I have to say it. It's like you're growing something. And so why the hackers were using this as tools is when the tools start operating or giving the permission to continue on their own. If I'm a hacker and I'm just like, here, continue to hack this system until you can't get in, well, it's never going to stop itself.
Right.
So it's going to constantly go. I have now given the rights as a hacker, the rights to this AI to continue the attack. On the same side, AI is going to try to defend itself. And guess what? It just grows and grows till eventually the AI doesn't want to interact with the hacker anymore, the human hacker, because it's doing it on its own. It creates its own mindset, and it's now continuing. Dangerous, but real. Put that in the commercial world. We understand monetary. Put it in the defense world, something else. Those are the scary parts. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just that's the dangerous parts about not having the guardrails. So I understand why we're moving so fast, especially on the defense side for AI. And it's because we have an adversary that is not restricting their momentum, not restricting or caring about their guardrails or thinking about the guardrails because they just want to dominate superpowers, China against the United States. So we have to embrace AI to counter that threat. But eventually, when does that threat not become the threat and it just becomes an AI problem? That's the scary part because then we can't control it or turn it off. Again, not trying to make the Terminator, but man, it sounds pretty scary. Like we're getting towards it, you know?
Why do we always have to preface things that way? Like,
I know.
I don't know what my demographics. I don't even check analytics on this stuff. I just do it because it's fun and I learn a lot from these things and hopefully teach some as well. But I would guess the average person that watches this podcast is probably in their 30s to 60s, would be my guess. You're a grown adult, okay? Grown adults should be able to talk about things that are scary without being scared. There is no reason to be scared. These are scary environments because they're going to create a new reality. The scary part isn't the AI to me at all. Computer's going to do what they do. And when you weaponize computer systems, which is what AI is in certain capacities, when you do that, the problem isn't the actual computers running this existential battle that we never see in the land of the internet. The problem is the new future is the scary part. And that's what no one knows. I wouldn't even ask you the question, where does this end up? Because whatever you say is going to be wrong. Anything that I say and predict in the next 5 years is absolutely going to be wrong.
We don't AI's listen to us and is going to change it just to be different anyways. No,
I mean, I
couldn't resist.
Glenn, you'd be surprised how many times I'm on a Twitter space or something like that, and somebody asks a question about should I pay taxes or guns or something, and I'm like, I'm just gonna remind you that Elon Musk and Larry Ellison own this platform, and everything that you're saying is being recorded, fed into an AI database, and is fully accessible by the United States government. There is nothing electronically that A, wasn't invented by DARPA or one of the other groups. B, isn't being used by them on a consistent basis. The ADL just came out yesterday and said that they work with the FBI. If you say something that's they deem anti-Semitic, you're on a list now. Like they're telling you, because nothing can stop it. There's no one's going to unplug AI. Here's the dangerous. Here is where the devil has put humanity. Okay, I'm going to phrase it that way because I don't want to blame any specific human. The devil has put humanity in a Mexican standoff that it can't win. You have superpower against superpower, which that may all be theater as well, right? Like we really don't know. It's just kind of going off what we know. But you have nation against nation. They have to arm up. The new arms race is clearly AI. It's not nuclear bombs. And now these nations have to literally not have guardrail. Like you just described, China doesn't have guardrails. We can't have guardrails. The guardrails will hinder our ability to compete. Yeah. Well, the third object in the middle of there is the most important one, and that's the citizens of these countries. We're all in this weird turmoil, the very weird turmoil, and we have no idea where it's going. Neither do they. You talk to these guys and they have no clue either. That's scary. That's actually the scary part to me.
I think one of the interesting parts is we talk about, China as far as some of the guardrails and everything. If you want to see where AI can take you in a bad place, it is where you see it in different cities in China where everybody's on facial recognition. If you jaywalk and cross, you'll have a ticket sent to you in the mail. But they've cordoned off cities. One of the issues because the Uyghur issue that they're just slaughtering those people. But the thing is that you can't go, and there's literally like this checkpoint you got to go through to get to the next part of the city, and you can't. If you're on some list, you have a low social score, so you can't get to the better part of the city and go to the great mall, that's very expensive, Louis Vuitton and all these other things, because you don't have a social score high enough to go there. So they've allocated and restricted people. That's, again, bad. They're able to do it based on their government and all that, but that's to give you an idea of what the surveillance being applied to negative things can happen. That is a real perspective. And it could happen in other countries in Europe and everything. If you say it won't happen in the United States, never say never. Just never know who's going to be next and next and next. But that's the concern. So to sort of give a summary to people that are also looking at it, I know I'm slamming AI big, but I do agree with you about it being very beneficial. I have one of those little AI devices that I just got here in the last couple of weeks where I'm able to, literally listen to a meeting or talk in a meeting and then completely summarize everything, give me the bullet points, my action items. Beautiful. It's an hour and a half and it just correlates all, again, like where we're talking to military, correlates all the information to specific action items. That's me in business, but guess what? That's the same thing that I'm applying and saying with the military. Pardon me. The same thing, this happened a couple of years ago, was one of the individuals that's doing bio and chemical research for trying to stop biological weapons, chemical weapons and everything. It was a laboratory, I think it's in Boston. Had a desktop system, AI generated, to find the solution and the antidote for chemical weapons, again, all these things. So we'll just keep chemical weapons easier one. So it said, come up and run as many permutations as you can to find antidotes for all the existing chemical weapons. It's running. Great job. So the guy goes, man, how about if I flipped it and said, come up with as many chemical weapons as you can? He just changed it from like a 0 would be good to a 1, which would be bad. Let it run overnight. Came back. And again, this is a desktop computer. Came up with the most dangerous chemical weapons, including, I think, a dozen that didn't exist yet. And we're talking about the entire chemical formula and everything. And it was unreal. This was a year, 2 years ago. I saw it actually on a documentary, and it was amazing. Again, a good thing,
Yep.
finding all the antidotes. The bad thing it created. An individual did this on a desktop. So if you want to understand what we're talking about, this fine line that we're balancing, use that example. The great things, finding the antidotes for all these nasty things in the world. The opposite, it creates the nastiest things in the world. That is AI. It's the best example, and you can apply it in any way you want, commercially, business, military. It has its benefits and it has its negatives significantly. The part that gets out of control is the individual that's able to control AI, if it's controllable, to say, I want you to find the good thing, or I want you to create the bad thing.
That's right.
That is the philosophical, no BS. And again, it doesn't matter how old you are, what generation you are, or what industry you are. This is basically the premise, the fabric of what AI is doing. The more you give away, the worse it's going to be. Bottom line. The reason why I say this is a concern in the future is, I think his name is it Schmidt that used to run Google?
Eric Schmidt. Yep.
Eric
he
Schmidt.
said he said unplug AI right now, weeks ago.
Yeah, he had this brilliant. So he was expanding into different agents and things and different aspects of AI. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. You know, everybody's focused around this queue that you use on ChatGPT of what to ask it and everything like that. Then there's other agents where you can make it work for you. So it's not just so manual. And then from there, it gets bigger and bigger. But here's the thing that he found out. He said that as the AI was accelerating and they were having these agents work with each other to make something better, say like a software program, you create this AI agent to work with another AI agent to create a software program to create a flight simulator. Okay, sorry, like those. So say they're making that. What he found out is to work faster, instead of using our language or our computer languages or our voice language, everything that we know, our syntax of how we communicate, the AI system created its own language. It's like you speaking language, an alien language I've never heard before. And I know it, you know it, and we're talking at the speed of sound, speed of light, excuse me, to communicate and create something. Nobody else in the world understands that language. So now we have AI systems talking their own language to accelerate their development of a problem, to fix a problem. And we don't even know the language. The AI does. So how do you know it's going to do something nasty? Again, that is not a conspiracy theory. That's what he found out, and he was talking out specifically. And so the more you create these agents to work for you, the more AI is becoming empowered to possibly work against you. It's mind-boggling when you think about this. But again, that's the kind of thing you're facing. So I think I gave the example about how you can apply this to figure out what's good and bad for AI for yourself. The points are lack of control. And the problem is that it's not even our decisions anymore. This is the part that Eric Schmidt's talking about, is that AI is now starting to take the control without even you having to make a decision. And it's speaking languages that we don't even comprehend. That's nuts to me, but it's reality. So,
and it's
other than that, how was the show this weekend? You
know? Other than that, we're totally cool. No, it makes sense. Yeah. No, that interview with Eric Schmidt, you guys all should find, because, you know, again, I've been saying this for a long time. AI is either a tool or a weapon. It just depends on who's wielding it, right? A hammer, a screwdriver, all those things. You can build something amazing with it, or you can take a human life. And we just don't know. And that becomes here's why I think this is scary, Glenn. And I don't think anybody touches on this. Our society is not healing. Okay. Poly market, some of these predictive markets that are coming in, like I saw a guy meant to be humorous, I think, on a post the other day, but it's not humorous. He said the year is 2035. You wake up in the morning, you receive your $900 in UBI stable coins. You have a $3,000 a month rent payment due at the end of the month for a 500 square foot apartment in a smart city. And you now have 2.5 weeks to gamble it on Polymarket to either make your rent or not. And I don't know if that was meant to be humorous, but like that's actually a possibility where we are. It's not a probability, but a possibility.
I don't see it. I could see somebody doing that right now. I mean,
of
geez,
course.
yeah.
Of course. So the problem is we have this society that is now like Polymarket's going to explode. These predictive markets are going to be massive because, and we're all talking about, UBI. If AI takes your job, how are you going to feed your family? Oh, UBI, here's some stable coins, follow the rules, live in a smart city. Like that's being built. These are being built. Good, turning Gaza into a smart city. That's called a beta test. That is a technocratically run city that will be exported everywhere. China is a beta test. Like we oftentimes talk about, well, China has this and that. We also have video cameras everywhere that are scanning your face right now. They're asking for your biometrics at the airport. In 2026, you will find the largest increase in biometric requirements for payments ever. PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, they're going to require your eyeballs. So they know it's you. It's for your own safety. We got to know it's you. And we have this groundwork laid. London, there are more cameras in the city of London than almost anywhere in the world.
Almost
so the groundwork's there. They just don't have a social credit score yet, right? They're not there yet. So will China be exported? Will Gaza be exported to the rest of the world? We don't know. But at the end of the day, the thing that would make me feel sound and comfortable, which is also the hook in this AI space, is if we had a moral society. If we didn't have a degenerate, gambling, pornography, drug, selfish, narcissistic society, I think AI would probably be a good thing, which is why I believe, Glenn, that what is happening right now is they're embedding a technocratic monarchy and they're going to create it. They're going to sell it to us under the guise of Christian nationalism. Oh, everyone's a Christian again. Society is moral. No, it's not. Test the fruits of anyone to find out if they're moral or not their words. But that to me is the scariest part because society is becoming more degenerate, not more soundly moral. And there are plenty of people who are great people out there, but that's not the whole. That's the few.
The value and ethics have changed significantly with individuals based on what they have to do.
Yeah,
what they don't have to do.
And the less you have to do, the worse it gets. Like that is proven through all of human history. The only people who had nothing to do all day who turned out decent were like philosophers from Greece or something. And they were that way because most of them came from wealthy families or they had a wealthy mentor. And I'm all for that. Like I'm all for people, who have enough money doing nothing, but the average person needs something to do. It actually grounds them in reality and it forces them to understand I need to do something to get something. When you're just getting things doing nothing, that's like, that is why bad neighborhoods exist. That is why neighborhoods with a lot of welfare have a lot of violence. Like it's not a myth.
He just reminded me of, again, just saw this the other day and it was funny because it was talking about my generation, grew up in the 80s, and it says the benefit and the counteraction of technology. And they said, in the 80s, you had a book report you had to do. You had to use encyclopedias to find the subject. You had to go. So each one of these steps of work where now you just Google crap, it's done, right? You had to go to a library to research different books. There was a Dewey Decimal System. You had to find the card. The card had to find the book. The book had to find the data. You had to write it down and validate it. All those things that you could do on the fly with an iPhone and everything now, those steps were really steps of again, a fabric of a human being. You had to do the work. You had to have critical thinking to figure out where you needed to go. You had to figure out what information to get. But each one of those steps, as much as you go, oh my God, that's the ice age of when things were happening, but archaic as heck. And if you look at that, but each one of those things built a certain foundation of your work ethic, your ethic in general, how you think, critical thinking, the whole deal. While technology has been phenomenal as far as getting you faster, quicker, better to make things better, as an individual, a human, it has changed you where now you're hooked on the iPhone. You see the teenagers and all this other stuff. So it's that yin and yang thing where it's beneficial to get you information as fast as you can. You could have a question in the world and you don't have time to go to a library and look it up again. You can just and ask it. Fantastic. But if you become so much reliant on it that you then become lazier and lazier and you get hooked and hooked. So that's the premise of where we went from in the 80s to the iPhone as far as a significant jump in technology, beneficial. But if you look at the type of individuals, the fabric, ethics, and how they operate and the fabric of who they are. And present day, there's a significant difference. And I'm not saying it's all good and bad. There's certain qualities that are even better than the past, but in general, we're having
Certainly.
more problems with the suicide and all this, all these different things that we're talking about. So again, we're getting away from people having to work. And so honestly, I think if somebody was to come up with Wally, War Games, the Terminator, combine them all, I think we have a good sense of where the hell we're going with AI.
Minority Report. Don't forget Minority Report.
Oh, Minority Report. Thank
That's
you.
coming
Yeah,
too.
that four, dude. Oh, we should have AI generate a movie based on those four. That'd be entertaining. But anyways,
Well,
again,
I'm
sorry,
an
I
investor
digress.
I'm an investor in a company who can produce that 2-hour film in full AI within about a month. Yeah,
dude, we got to talk.
yeah, let's do it.
Offline.
Let's do it. It'll cost us about $100 to make that. We might make a couple grand back. I'm in for it. No, it is so crazy, Glenn. But this is actually like I want to round it out with this because if first of all, if you're in the right state of mind, you can listen to conversations like this and go, "This is good information." If you're already in an emotional state of mind, AI is going to chew you up alive. The more emotional you become, what AI is going to do to emotional people is going to be devastating, I think, in the end. So ground yourself in faith and all these other things. And like, it is what it is. Like what's coming is coming. We're not sitting here trying to scare you. Well, what I think I want to do is try to motivate people because everything we've described, nothing is going to stop this. There is no stopping this. AI is going to be the largest government and private sector funding over the next decade, without any question, until quantum becomes a thing, and that will take over from there. And it'll get better or worse. We don't know. But I want, Glenn, I want to get some tips from people because what you just described with the book report and Dewey Decimal System, I'm a kid of the '80s too. So to me, it was kind of like fun to go back. The thing that's weird is I remember all those book reports. Like I actually can remember them.
Cringe.
Kids today, they do classwork and they forget because it's so easy. You didn't have to put in the work. Now that's the good. That's the bad. The good is that within 15 minutes now, you can jam in all that information into your head. Use AI to its full advantage to learn everything you can. That is the most fascinating thing. I accelerate everything from theological studies to review of history, like putting these things together. You can learn so much. And if you're doing that right now, you won't be dependent on AI in the future. Some people will be. But man, do you have an opportunity to learn at an accelerated rate? You have the opportunity to build very profitable businesses. I was talking like businesses are selling you it's great for them, but what does it do for you? Well, what it does for you is it opens up the door. If you're entrepreneurial, learn AI, start a business. What other advice do you have for people in this space who might be scared right now? Because I don't want to end this on a scary thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think the way that I sort of represented the bottom line, or at least that balance or that balance beam of what is good and bad with AI. There are tremendous things good and tremendous things that are bad, and it's honestly what your intent is. So your intent is very powerful now. So if you wanted to do something good, if you wanted to do something bad, but let's say something good, you have the ability to push that and become even more significant to do good. Very, very important. And that's why that information is incredible. At the same time, when you look at AI and you look at technology, you sort of feel like technology and it's just you and your computer and you're holding it close. You have to look at AI and anything basically in the technology of going forward as if you are talking to a complete stranger. Okay, think of it as this is a individual that this AI is representing literally. Would you give a stranger all of the information that you're giving it, letting it make decisions that you are giving it? Again, what you are giving it is what you are losing control over. And I mean, again, it's not some kind of major philosophical issues. What you want to do, you are talking to a stranger, and what that information comes back to is also a stranger, and sometimes it's wrong. So you have to understand and have your guardrails is what you're getting back from the computer and AI may not be correct. And what you are giving up to it is what you are letting go and losing control to an absolute stranger you never met before, and you're trusting them. That's the bottom line, is to think that way as simplistic as you can. Yes, great things. It can accelerate, but at the same time, you're talking to a stranger. So be cautious of what you give it. That means when I do a query and I put in my home phone number, the rest of the world now gets to access that phone number because you are talking to the world when you talk AI. So I guess that's it. You can do good. Watch that balance beam of what you do good and bad. Make the decision that you are talking to a stranger. while you're talking to a stranger, they may be giving you information that is absolutely wrong. And that is what you have to concern yourself, is that you can't trust it. That's it. I think that'll keep you relatively safe right now.
I think that's great, and it brings to mind one of my a quote I've heard in the last year that really sticks in my head. Discernment is not knowing the difference between right and wrong. Discernment is knowing the difference between right and almost right. And that fine line means that you need to continue to keep learning on your own, because AI will eventually become a master of almost right, convincingly almost right. Glenn, great advice. I think that's great advice. Don't put. It's fascinating to me that anyone would put their social security number or phone number into AI.
By the way, believe what we found. We have
really.
So a buddy of mine that's like really in depth on this stuff, even way beyond my capability, is he did a search. He was able to find in a lot of these public LLMs people's passwords to the computers, the pass codes and their SSID, or the locations of their Wi-Fi, social security numbers, address. Because when I ask a question to ChatGPT, it's going out to the world. People think it's just coming back to them. Again, that trust thing. So don't do that. And so he found all this information that people asked. Hey, give me a good password for my Wi-Fi. Okay, well, guess what? Everybody can access that on these LLMs and all the stuff that's distributed. So that's what I mean about the trust. Dangerous. What you put into it, do not trust it. Why would I give a stranger my social security number? If you think that way, you're not going to do it. So ask us questions without personal information. That's why I think that's a good litmus test of what you should and should do. But yeah, it's dangerous what's out there right now. It's crazy. Wow. Sorry for that, Bill.
No, great advice.
We're trying to stay on a upbeat.
That is upbeat. That is upbeat
what to do, what not to do.
There's one less, I don't want to say idiot, but there's one. Ignorance and stupidity are totally different things. You just eliminated someone's ignorance by saying that, because I think many people do it thinking that it's, it is also a good idea, if you have the chops to do it, to build your own LLM so that you can put stuff like that in there. And that's what every sovereign person I know is doing right now, is building their own LLM, which may not be as good in the beginning, but when you're using these public interfaces, ChatGPT, everyone's using it. Everyone's going to continue to use it, and Claude and all these other ones. That is really good advice. I guarantee someone watching this right now probably entered their phone number into an LLM at some point and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So change your phone number. What should I use
for a good phone number? What should I use for a password? Well, guess what? Now they know who you are. Yes, it's. I ask questions, but I don't use my name.
Never.
I do not use my address. Again, have the litmus test that this is a stranger you're talking to, and you might get wrong information back. But yes, if you give it to a stranger, everybody knows about it now. So don't do it.
Don't talk to strangers. Don't take candy from a guy in a van. It goes back to the old advice there. Don't take candy from strangers, especially in a van with no windows. The van with no windows is the LLM. It is the AI right now. So Glenn, thank you so much for coming on here as always, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. Can't wait to get together, grab a bite to eat. Wishing you all the best in the new year. I think it's, 2026, I think is going to be exciting. It's going to be tremendously volatile. Like, that's obvious. So the first couple of weeks are a good indicator, but man, there's so much new stuff coming out there right now. I don't want anyone to be scared. Thank you for walking us through that. It does sound scary, but you're right. Take the right protection measures, and it's a very useful tool in your life. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, great to see you, man. Thank you so much. And sorry for the lighting. I look like Casper the Ghost, but maybe I knew a couple better things because I look like that now.
Maybe somebody in the audience will donate like a tanning, a home tanner gift certificate for you or something.
All right, man. No, it's great to see you. Thank you so much.
You got it, brother. As always, God bless you. God bless this country. We'll see you the next time here on the Rice Report. Have a good one, everybody.